through the fire and snow. Voices of a no in the cold wind blow.
Shadows in the night, but the stars still glow. If I fall tonight, let the whole world know.
Calling me home where the old gods stand. Through the storm and the blood red sand, the sky falls down and the rivers run slow. Hear my name in the wind.
What the? Oh man, it's just sitting there, no sound, nothing. God, it's moving. It's moving. I gotta.
I can learn a new field in 3 months. Name a field, I don't care what it is. Engineering, science, physics, material science, math, language. So Jeremy, I was homeschooled through this group called Covenant Christian Academy. I was in public school in Huntsville through the 1st grade. We moved out to the country. I was in podunk fucking redneck middle of nowhere county school through the 6th grade. I homeschooled. Jim Ashburn, the inventor of YBCO, was a homeschool dad from my cover group. Sean Bellina, MK Ultra motherfucker. His parents were both OBGYNs for MK Ultra, and he was raised on LSD from the age of 6, was a CCA homeschool dad. Bill Dent, the best friend of Edward Teller, neutron bomb inventor, was a CCA homeschool dad. And like when we moved into our farm here in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, there was Mr. and Mrs. Dent next door, an elderly couple, grandma and grandpa. 25 years later, we meet Bill Dent. Those were his parents. His parents lived next door to us in the middle of fucking nowhere. And he's the inventor of the neutron bomb, the best friend of Ed Teller, and he's assigned to my team randomly. I didn't look for him. He joined my team randomly. Why did he live next door to me 25 years ago? That's weird. Like, all of these people homeschooled through the same group that I graduated from.
It's the only answer, Lara. If he remains here with us, he will die as surely as we will.
But why Earth, Juro? They're primitives, thousands of years behind us.
He will need that advantage to survive.
One conspiracy that fucks me up more than anything else is the Miami Mall incident. What do you mean? What do you mean that people are claiming that they saw 8 to 10 foot creatures coming out of a portal, yet we don't have a single video? What do you mean that the coordinates of the mall are the exact same as the coordinates to Antarctica but backwards? What do you mean that there was a citywide call for all available units to dispatch to the mall? And what do you mean that this was the most amount of officers that have ever been on a scene in Miami's history just for some kids rioting with fireworks? What do you mean that an officer saw multiple people just completely frozen with their mouths wide open and blood coming out of their ears with no explanation? What do you mean that there was black helicopters circling the mall and all air traffic was cut off at that very moment? What do you mean that the police took everyone's cell phone and made them delete every video and photo that they had in there? What do you mean that there was multiple counts of seeing these massive figures coming out of portals and glitching, yet those people are nowhere to be found to talk about it again? What do you mean?
we were denied access to the skiff.
Denied
And
access.
so, to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman rule and we'll defund the position.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. Someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control. And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
O que será?
Quê? Fome?
O que será que é isso? Agora eu fiquei curiosa, tá vendo?
Será que esse é o ZT?
Será que é alguém nadando?
Ah, não, acho que não. Porque tinha 3, um sumiu.
Um sumiu, cadê algum? Ah lá,
Ali, ali.
Tá vendo?
Não tem um bicho que tem um...
Pô, esse bicho fica lá no negócio dentro
mesmo,
do mar.
né? E ele só fica no fundo.
Que porra é?
I don't think Trump knows. I mean, these people have kept this stuff secret. Here's another thing. I was in one meeting, and a guy said, what about the president on this? And he said, the president's on a need-to-know basis. Now, that's a federal employee saying that he or she has information that the president is not allowed to see. And I just was aghast, man. I said, that's the kind of crap you see on the Sci-Fi Network or something.
Right.
But that'd be the title of my book. I mean, that ought to tell you right there that this thing is a cover up. And it's kind of like MK Ultra. I don't think we're going to get they're not going to tell us everything. I really don't. I don't think they're going to give us half of what we should get.
But you think we're going to get something?
I think we're going to get something.
Do you know Hal Puthoff? You know Hal Puthoff?
Do what?
Do you know Hal Puthoff?
No, I
Do you know
don't.
who he is?
I thought you knew how put off you are right
No.
now. I was like, how put off are you?
Hal Puthoff was in the documentary as well. He was in The Age of Disclosure, and
Okay.
he was a guest on the podcast. And one of the things that he told me is that during the Bush administration, they brought in him and a bunch of other scientists and thought leaders, and what was explained to him was that they are considering disclosure and that there have been visits of these super intelligent beings from somewhere else, that we have retrieved crashed vehicles, and that we have biological remains.
That's correct.
And we are talking about disclosing. We would like you to make a list of all the ways that it'll negatively affect society and all the ways that it'll positively affect society, and attach a numerical value to these things. And they all did it, and every one of them said the negatives far outweigh the positives in terms of the impact on government, the impact on the economy, religion, all these different factors, and how it would disrupt society. And in the end, they decided not to disclose.
Yeah, I've heard that many times. I just don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it. I mean, I don't doubt what he's saying. I know all those guys now that you mentioned. I was in the movie, of course, and I've met them all afterwards. But I just don't buy that. I think we should know. Let us know. Let us decide.
No, I believe that too, but I wonder what that meeting was like and whether or not they were being truthful to these people or whether it was a thought experiment.
Allegedly, when they told Jimmy Carter, he cried.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. It was, I won't go into all of it, but I was in a meeting.
What would make him cry?
I don't know. He's a very sensitive guy. But
I understand, but I mean, like, I cried when I saw Old Yeller.
Yeah, I did too. Still cry. But they, he had seen a UFO. He was on a Navy sub, nuclear sub, And I don't know if he saw that when he was on the sub or not. I can't remember. But, you know, here he is. That guy was president of the United States, and
they told him something, and supposedly he cried.
And I was in the meeting, and that was brought up. And the guy that they were trying to trip up gave the date of that meeting, and he said, you can go to the Carter Library and pull up that date, and you'll know there's one person, they omitted their name, which who knows who that was, but they list the meeting and where he was when he got that briefing.
Wow.
I've interviewed people, my first term primarily, but I interviewed some pilots, very solid people, and they said they saw things that you wouldn't believe. So you're going to be reading about it, yes.
It's so quiet.
Here is going to go, oof. All I'm going to say is that one of the most senior people in national security for prior administration, and I met extensively for about 3 hours last year. He has the audio and video of some files from Epstein Island of key people in our intelligence and national security system. I mean, key, I mean very senior, that are compromised and are being actively blackmailed to slow down or distort disclosure. I'm going to say that, and I'll let that sit. I will say to the Department of Justice, if you want to inquire into this and pursue it, because we're talking blackmailing officials at the highest level, that is interfering with the function of government. So that is what Epstein Island was. It was a honeypot set up by the intelligence community to entrap certain high-value targets and then control them through that process of blackmail. This happens all the time. Everyone knows J. Edgar Hoover had huge files on everyone, every mistress for every president. That's how he stayed in office. But this is serious. This is something that can really affect the truth of what gets to the president and Congress, or whether things are allowed to come out. So this is something that has to get nipped in the bud. I won't say who the officials are who are compromised, where I got the information, or who's doing the blackmailing, but I know the two senior former government officials doing the blackmailing. I know both of them. All right.
What is that? It's like a ghost ship.
I know.
we recovered UAP craft. Okay, some of it's crashed, not very many of them crashed. Most of them have been intact. I won't give the exact number is classified, but I won't give you the exact number. It's south of 40. And they all are in the United States. We have a few in the United States. We've got a few in foreign countries. I'm not at liberty to say which countries they are, but I can tell you that the majority, I mean, roughly 2/3 of them were recovered from the maritime environment, not on land. So Bush told me that the essence is, the liaison officer said, that the U.S. government had been in contact with aliens from another world. Their craft that they travel in are the UFO craft that we've been seeing throughout all of human history. And Bush wanted to see the film. And he said, I'd like to see that film. Can you arrange for it? And the liaison officer said, I'm sorry, Mr. Director, you don't have the need to know to see that film.
This is absolute madness. Have you seen the leaked footage of Metal Chimera that is making thousands of people afraid? A series of truly insane clips just surfaced from a secret underground facility, and they are already sending a chill through the entire internet. At first glance, it looks like a high-tech robotics lab, just gears, wires, and mechanical limbs. But look closer at the machines, because as the camera pans across the lab, the reality becomes terrifying. You see mechanical, spider-like legs topped with actual human faces, a living, pulsing human brain floating in a cylinder, chrome-plated skull with a biological mouth that still looks like it's trying to scream. These aren't just robots. They are human remains fused into biological processors. Theorists are claiming these are the survivors of a classified disaster who were recycled into these machines. They believe these entities are part of a fusion project designed to create something that never dies and never sleeps. If you don't believe it, search Project Metal Chimera on TikTok.
And we are just, one grain of sand on a billion beaches. And I still don't think we're the best that God can do. I mean, I just can't imagine we're his shining, we're the one they put on the mantle. Oh, look, he made humans. Well, we've kind of screwed things up. So I read my Bible, and a lot of the Christian folks knock me. They talk about it's demons, and I say, well, I'm good with Jesus. I'm not worrying about demons. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think they're demons. Why would they? They don't have to fly around in some craft to right. It's just, to me, it's hard to imagine. But the
tem tipo triângulo ali, velho. Caralho. Caracas, tem triângulo bem ali.
there's no way out of this. There's no way out of this up situation. My ex-boyfriend and I realized that people had been breaking into our apartment. And so like, I'm in the apartment, I'm about to go to work, and I'm like, why don't you take out the trash and scope out the parking lot and make sure it's okay before I go to work? So he goes out there and he's like, there's this weird Lexus and it has tinted windows that are not street legal. He comes back in and we're standing in our bedroom window looking at the Lexus and talking about it. And I say out loud, maybe we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate. Within 2 minutes, an Eastern European looking mother with a black beanie, dressed all in black, in his 50s or 60s, walked out of the apartment directly across from ours holding a license plate. And he changed the license plate right in front of our faces. And then he walked back to his apartment and he put the old license plate on the front patio and went inside, left it outside. And it was literally like, come get the license plate. I had more. After that, the Lexus started tailing me. And every time I saw the Lexus, it had a different license plate. Even my ex called an Uber once. The Lexus pulled out from the spot across the parking lot from our apartment, drove over to our apartment and said, hey, I'm your Uber here to pick you up. The license matched in the Uber app. I'm scared. I'm tired. I'm real tired. I need to disclose soon, man. I need to publish soon because it's like escalating. It's getting more and more aggressive. Like over the past, this has been going on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats. And now I'm like, I have to publish because like, it's only going to get worse until I publish.
Не, что они могут пустить по нам, ты что? Охренеть, ни хрена.
Что это за херня такая?
Тарелка по-любому.
А ну приблизь еще.
На месте стоит, ты ж бачишь.
А на месте, блядь, ну.
А в теплак ничего не стоит?
Ха, что ты хочешь?
interest and really accelerating disclosure. It led to like 4 weeks ago, Trump gave a presidential directive to declassify evidence of non-human intelligent life and UAP. And I'm sure you saw that, you know. And in the week since, two of his cabinet members, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, and Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, have been basically going through the process of trying to identify what evidence exists that can safely be declassified and shared with the American public without becoming a threat to national security. And what I've been told through my relationships is that they are receiving a lot of pushback from the folks who have gatekept this. Despite the fact that there's a presidential directive, they're still getting blocked from getting to this very real evidence that exists.
Yeah, the idea is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got from the documentary was in the 40s after Roswell, all this stuff got sucked up into private contractors, and it's been controlled by private contractors, and people have rotated in and out of top level positions over the decades, and now the new people that come in don't even get briefed on this stuff, and essentially all of that, whatever you want to call it, black budget stuff or recovered craft, is being controlled by the private sector, and even like top tier generals can't even get access to it in the government. So the government, there's like the secret war between the US government and private industry trying to wrestle control of this stuff, whatever it is.
So private industry.
What
What if I told you humans were never psychologically built for endless horizons? A while ago, I found this old theory from a guy named Daniel Vey, who was obsessed with ocean isolation and the psychology of people stranded at sea for long periods of time. And honestly, the more I looked into it, the creepier it became. Daniel believed the human brain depends way more on physical boundaries than we realize. Trees, buildings, mountains, streets, walls, land, things that constantly remind your brain where you are. But in the middle of the ocean, there's nothing. Just horizon in every direction. And according to him, after enough time, some people start reacting strangely to that. Passengers aboard isolated ships described feeling detached from reality after days without seeing land. Some reported vivid dreams. Others became obsessed with staring into the ocean for hours at a time. But the strangest reports came during periods of heavy fog. People described moments where the horizon seemed to disappear completely, like the sky and ocean became one endless space. One passenger aboard a quarantined cruise ship said it felt like the ship had stopped moving entirely, even though it was still drifting through the Atlantic. Another claimed the ocean suddenly looked too large, like their brain couldn't process the scale of it anymore. Daniel believed humans evolved in enclosed environments for so long that endless open space actually overwhelms the mind. And honestly, maybe that's why the ocean terrifies people in such a strange way. Not because of what might be inside it, but because the human brain was never meant to fully comprehend something that endless.
Tupac actually escaping from the University Medical Center here in Vegas and relocating to New Mexico, getting protection from the Navajo tribe.
Tupac is in fact alive.
Tupac was bleeding, hunted, and supposedly hours away from death. But now a man claiming he helped Tupac escape says the world was lied to from the very beginning. He describes a brutal secret operation involving body switches and powerful people working behind the scenes while millions believed Tupac was dead. And the most disturbing part is that some of the details still don't make sense nearly 30 years later. What made this story explode again wasn't just another random internet theory. It was the fact that someone finally came forward claiming he was actually part of the escape. Not a fan, not a blogger, not somebody making vague predictions online. This man said he personally helped Tupac disappear after the Las Vegas shooting in September 1996. And the deeper he went into the story, the more unsettling it became.
Combs saw that it wasn't going to be resolved peacefully, and he protected himself by affiliating with these Crip gang members, and they took upon themselves to then kill Tupac Shakur.
Because the real question was never just, is Tupac alive? The real question was why so many details from that night still don't fully line up almost 30 years later. The man claimed there was a coordinated operation happening behind the scenes.
You know what's weird about outbreaks? It's not even the illness itself most of the time. It's how fast normal life starts feeling artificial. Like right now, with all this stuff happening on cruise ships again, people immediately start acting different. Everybody gets quieter. People start watching each other more. News spreads every 5 seconds online and suddenly the whole atmosphere changes. And I think that's what freaks people out so much about outbreaks. Not just getting sick, but realizing how fragile modern life actually is. Because most people walk around assuming society is permanent. Stores will stay open. Flights will keep moving. The internet will keep working. Food will always show up. People will act normal. And then something happens. And within like 3 days, the entire mood of society changes. You can literally feel it online. Even on quarantined ships, people always describe the same thing happening after a while. Passengers stop relaxing. Everybody starts doom scrolling. People become hyper aware of other humans. Normal conversations start feeling tense. And the craziest part is how quickly the brain adapts to this weird survival mode. Like humans are still carrying instincts from thousands of years ago underneath modern society. And once the illusion of normal life cracks a little bit, people feel it immediately. Honestly, I think that's why outbreak stories stick in people's heads so much. They remind humans that modern civilization is probably way more psychologically fragile than we like to think. Because it only takes a few days for reality to start feeling different.
And suddenly, I felt nothing. I couldn't cry. So once again, I couldn't sleep.